Welcome to Bite at a Time Books, where we read you your favorite classics one bite at a time. My name is Bree Carlile, and I love to read and wanted to share my passion with listeners like you. You can sign up for our newsletter at biteatatimebooks.com. You'll also find our new t-shirts in the shop, including podcast shirts and quote shirts from your favorite classic novels. Be sure to follow my show on your favorite podcast platform so you get all the new episodes. We're part of the Bite at a Time Books Productions Network. If you'd also like to hear what inspired your favorite classic author to write their novels, and what was going on in the world at the time, check out the Bite at a Time Books Behind the Story podcast, wherever you listen to podcasts. Today we'll be continuing Les Miserables by Victor Hugo. Chapter 5. Preparations. The journals of the day, which said that nearly impregnable structure of the barricade of the Rue de la Chevrerie, as they call it, reached to the level of the first floor, were mistaken. The fact is that it did not exceed an average height of 6 or 7 feet. It was built in such a manner that the combatants could, at their will, either disappear behind it or dominate the barrier and even scale its crest by means of a quadruple row of paving stones, placed on top of each other and arranged as steps in the interior. On the outside, the front of the barricade, composed of piles of paving stones and casks bound together by beams and planks, which were entangled in the wheels of Anceau's dray, and of the overturned omnibus, had a bristling and inextricable aspect. An aperture large enough to allow a man to pass through had been made between the wall of the houses and the extremity of the barricade, which was furthest from the wine shop, so that an exit was possible at this point. The pole of the omnibus was placed upright and held up with ropes, and a red flag fastened to this pole floated over the barricade. The little Mondétour barricade, hidden behind the wine shop building, was not visible. The two barricades united formed a veritable redoubt. Enjolras and Courfeyrac had not thought to fit the barricade the other fragment of the Rue des Mondétour, which opens through the Rue des Prêcheurs, an issue into the Halles, wishing, no doubt, to preserve a possible communication with the outside, and not entertaining much fear of an attack through the dangerous and difficult street of the Rue des Prêcheurs. With the exception of this issue, which was left free, and which constituted what Follard in his strategical style would have termed a branch, and taking into account, also, the narrow cutting arranged on the Rue de la Chevrerie, the interior of the barricade, where the wine shop formed a salient angle, presented an irregular square, closed on all sides. There existed an interval of 20 paces between the grand barrier and the lofty houses, which formed the background of the street, so that one might say that the barricade rested on these houses, all inhabited but closed from top to bottom. All this work was performed without any hindrance in less than an hour, and without this handful of bold men seeing a single bearskin cap or a single bayonet make their appearance. The very bourgeois who still ventured at this hour of riot to enter the Rue Saint-Denis cast a glance at the Rue de la Chevrerie, caught sight of the barricade, and redoubled their pace. The two barricades being finished, and the flag run up, a table was dragged out of the wine shop, and Courfeyrac mounted on the table. Enjolras brought the square coffer, and Courfeyrac opened it. This coffer was filled with cartridges. When the mob saw the cartridges, a tremor ran through the bravest, and a momentary silence ensued. Courfeyrac distributed them with a smile. Each one received 30 cartridges. Many had powder, and set about making others with the bullets which they had run. As for the barrel of powder, it stood on a table on one side, near the door, and was held in reserve. The alarm beat, which ran through all Paris, did not cease, but it had finally come to be nothing more than a monotonous noise to which they no longer paid any attention. This noise retreated at times, and again drew near with melancholy undulations. They loaded the guns and carbines all together without haste, with solemn gravity. Enjolras went and stationed 3 sentinels outside the barricades, one in the Rue de la Chevrerie, the second in the Rue des Prêcheurs, the third at the corner of the Rue de la Petite Truanderie. Then, the barricades having been built, the posts assigned, the guns loaded, the sentinels stationed, they waited. Alone in those redoubtable streets, through which no one passed any longer, surrounded by those dumb houses which seemed dead and in which no human movement palpitated, enveloped in the deepening shades of twilight which was drawing on. In the midst of that silence, through which something could be felt advancing, and which had about it something tragic and terrifying, isolated, armed, determined, and tranquil. Thank you for joining Bite at a Time Books today, while we read a bite of one of your favorite classics. Again, my name is Bree Carlile, and I hope you come back tomorrow for the next bite of Les Miserables. Don't forget, you can sign up for our newsletter at biteatatimebooks.com. And while you're there, check out our t-shirt shop. You can look in the show notes or on our website, biteatatimebooks.com, for the rest of the links for our show. We'd love to hear from you on social media. You can find us everywhere at Bite at a Time Books.